Afternoon, it's 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. We will call the City Council meeting of the City of New Ulm to order. First item of business is the consent agenda. Councilors, what are your wishes?
I'll move it.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 2.1 is a public hearing on vacation of street right-of-way. Mr. Schnobrick, hello.
Madam President, members of the City Council, the City Council received a vacation petition from John Gogg on behalf of GMG Rentals Incorporated, and you received that at your March 4th, 2025 meeting, and at that time you set a public hearing for today's meeting. The legal description of the property that is proposed for vacation is 16th North Street, adjacent to Lot 1, Block 205, north of Center Street, and the vacated alley in said Block 205 North, and adjacent to Lot 7, Block 206, north of Center Street, and the vacated alley located in Block 206 North. GMG Rentals owns all of the property that surrounds this area, and according to the city charter, that qualifies them to request the vacation of that street right-of-way. So the street right-of-way that we're talking about is approximately a half block, and it extends from the rear of the Gogg Sheet Metal Building to the bike trail. Now, both the PUC Electric Department and Comcast have cable within the area that is proposed for vacation. Other utility services are located in North Front Street. Notice of the vacation request was sent to the two adjoining property owners. Staff would recommend approval of this request for the following reasons. Number one, the vacation would facilitate future development of the property. Number two, city and PUC departments as well as local communication companies have no objections to the vacation. Three, this is an area in which a number of alleys and side street segments have been vacated in the past with no adverse impact on the ability to develop or access properties. And four, the right-of-way is not required for any current or future city purposes. The request, we would recommend some conditions. There are three of them. Those conditions are, number one, that they prepare a vacation plat and file the plat and the authorizing resolution with the Brown County Recorder's Office. Two, that they pay the vacation approval fee of $2,090. And three, there is the utilities and the cable that is currently located within the area proposed for vacation. And we will, in our letter to GMG Rentals, we will advise them that that cable, if it is to be relocated or removed, that would be the cost of GMG Rentals to be paid at that time. In the attachments, there is an exhibit showing an aerial photo that shows the location of the property. I would note that in 2023, we vacated additional rights of way in this area for GMG Rentals as well. The segment that we're talking about today sits between two former bunkers where corn was stored by one of the local elevators. So I think that would conclude the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Schnobrick. At this time, we will open the public hearing. If anyone cares to be heard, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Seeing nobody wants to be heard, I'll close the public hearing and offer resolution authorizing with conditions the vacation of 16th North Street adjacent to Lot 1, Block 205 north of Center Street, and the vacated alley in said Block 205 north and also adjacent to Lot 7, Block 206 north of Center Street, and the vacated alley located in said Block 206 north.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
Counselor Schmitz?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
And President Becker.
Yes, that motion carries. Item number 3.1, conditional use permit for National Guard Readiness Center special purpose fence. Mr. Nisley.
Good evening, Council President, Councilors. John Isley, planner with the City of New Ulm. So the City of New Ulm's fence regulations outline that a barbed wire fence is considered a special purpose fence in the city and can be permitted with a conditional use permit. In 2021, the National Guard was issued a conditional use permit for this same location, but for only the field maintenance shop on the rear of the property. The proposed new fence is identical with 7 foot of chain length and then 1 additional foot of barbed wire at the top of the chain link. The property is located at 2100 Palmer Avenue. Similar fences have been permitted within the City of New Ulm with a conditional use permit. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this conditional use permit with 4 conditions. Those conditions are in the staff report to the council. I would note that it is anticipated that the Readiness Center facing Highway 14 should be completed by midsummer. And that concludes the staff report.
Nisley?
Being that this is a normal thing for a military, I'm not gonna call it a base, but establishments, I'm gonna offer the resolution to approve the conditional use permit with conditions to allow the installation of a special purpose fence on the property legally described as Lot 1, Block 1, Palmer Addition, street address 2100 Palmer Avenue.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just had a quick question. Did you say it's just one wire of barbed wire, a foot higher than
I
the
believe-
7 foot fence, or is it rolled? Or
It should be 3 strands.
Okay.
And it's 1 foot total in height.
Okay.
So it's an 8 foot tall fence in total.
Gotcha.
7 foot of its chain length. The upper foot is
just-
the barbed wire.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
Counselor Schmitz?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
President Becker.
Yes, that motion carries. Item 3.2 is a interim use permit for 115 North Washington Street.
All right, this proposed interim use permit is to allow a gunsmithing business to continue to be located in a detached garage on property zoned RT2 at 115 North Washington Street. RT2 is a residential zoning district. The applicant was originally issued an interim use permit for this same business at the same location in 2020. To date, staff has received no complaints or concerns regarding this business or its operations on this property. In addition to city regulations, the applicant is also required to maintain all appropriate licenses and approvals from the Department of Justice and ATF. So those are federal regulations. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the interim use permit with 14 conditions, which were the same as what were approved in 2020. And those conditions can be read in this staff report to the council. They did recommend approval of the interim use permit for a period of 5 years. And that concludes the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Nisley. And 5 years is the max, correct?
5 years is the max.
Thank you so much.
We've done this before. We've had no complaints. It's worked out, and I've heard nothing on it. I'm going to offer the resolution to approve with conditions the interim use permit application of Brent Meyer to allow operation of a gunsmithing business on property located in RT-2 zoning district and legally described as Lot 4, Block 140, north of Center Street. Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
Counselor Schmitz?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Nisely. Item 3.3 is a simple lot division, part of Lot 5, Block 1, Front Street Industrial Park, Second Edition.
Madam President, members of the City Council, the applicant is Willis Schaefer. The property owner is Robert Dietrich. The street address of the property is 1000 North Front Street. Property is generally located east of North Front Street and south of 12th North Street. Schaefer Well Company is in the process of purchasing the property from Robert Dietrich on a contract for deed basis. The total lot area of Lot 5 is 10.5 acres. The applicant is proposing to subdivide that property into 2 parcels. In your attachments, if you look at attachment 1 and attachment 2, there are drawings showing the location of this subdivision. The new parcel of property would be created on the north side of the property by the Minnesota Valley Testing Labs building. It would allow Schaefer Contracting to construct a new office building in this area. The new parcel would have approximate dimensions of 150 feet in width and depth of 470 feet. The proposed legal descriptions are provided in the staff report. Those would be the southeasterly 150 feet, of the northwesterly 190 feet, of the southwesterly 470.79 feet of Lot 5. The second description would be Lot 5, Block 1, Front Street Industrial Park, Second Edition, City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota, excepting therefrom the northwesterly 40 feet of the southwesterly 890.19 feet, and also exempting therefrom the northwesterly 190 feet of the southwesterly 470.79 feet. In the I-2 zoning districts, we do not have any lot area, lot width, or lot depth standards. There are required setbacks, but none would impact the lot division. And finally, the staff has not been advised of any utility conflicts caused by the proposed lot division. Staff and the commission recommended approval of the simple lot division with one condition, and that was that the approval is subject to the applicant recording the resolution authorizing the simple lot division with the Brown County Recorder's Office. That would conclude the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Schnobrecht.
You want that one recommendation read in, or it's fine just to read it?
Just, yeah,
Okay.
I think it's fine.
I'll offer a resolution approving a simple lot division of Lot 5, Block 1, Front Street Industrial Park, Second Edition, City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota, accepting therefrom the northwesterly 40 feet of Lot 5, Block 1, Front Street Industrial Park, Second Edition.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
Counselor Schmitz?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to old business, item 4.1 regarding 2025 street utility and alley improvement project.
Thank you, Madam President, City Councilors. As previously authorized, staff received and opened bids on Wednesday, March 19th for the 2025 Utility Street and Alley Improvement Project. The bids were open and read aloud as follows. MR Paving and Excavating, $3,282,099.52. GM Contracting, $4,158,898.82. The MR Paving and Excavating bid was tabulated and found to be correct as read. The GM Contracting bid was tabulated and found to have an error, and the correct amount was $4,150,746.11. Low bid was found to be 28.7% under our engineer's detailed estimate of $4,601,250.50. When reviewing the bids, unit prices across the board were lower than estimated based on last year's pricing. It was especially noticeable in underground utility work associated with the project. The bids appeared to be balanced when comparing to anticipated project location costs. Should note, these are bid prices that we haven't seen for 10 to 15 years. Based on results of the bid opening, the bonding need for this project is approximately $2.2 million, with a gross bonding need of around 5.3 for the remaining projects scheduled within the 2025 capital improvement plan, and that includes the 2025 airport projects and storm sewer improvement project. I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Thank you, Mr. Stadheim.
President and councilors, I would like to make a motion to award the contract for the 2025 Utility Street and Alley Improvement Project to MR Paving and Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $3,282,099.52.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion does carry. Item number 4.2 is a reconsideration of North Garden Street layout and the recommendation from the Safety Commission. I cannot take additional action on this, but this, I believe, can be reopened. Mr. Dalton?
So in order to reopen this, one of the counselors that was in favor initially has to make the motion to reconsider the item.
I will make a motion to reconsider North Garden Street layout.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion does carry, and this item is now open once again. Mr. Stadheim.
Thank you, Madam President, City Councilors. At the request of Councilors Warmka and Schmitz, this item is back before you today. I will throw up the presentation. So just a short presentation, again, showing the layouts 1 and 2, and then as well as a alternative layout number 3 that was requested by the council. So as previously discussed, layout option 1, just the 44-foot street, similar to what's north of 5th North Street, with the angled parking adjacent to Harmon Park. An update on the parking variance request for Harmon Park that was approved by the MnDOT Variance Committee last week. So we should be getting an order from the Department of Transportation Commissioner with that approval for that design variance. So that is good news for the project. Layout option 2, as a reminder, included the median between 2nd North Street and 5th North Street. Again, all of these options include the mini roundabout at 5th North Street as well. I did include a couple pictures from, this is from East 21st Street in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's kind of a similar situation. Their roadways here are a bit narrower than what we were proposing, but I did want to give some real-life examples as opposed to the concept drawings you saw a couple weeks ago. Just a couple pictures for consideration. Talking with their public works maintenance staff, they have, that's a priority route for their snow removal operations, and they have no parking enforcement in any snow event over 2 inches of snow. So when it snows over 2 inches, there's no parking on the street, but as soon as their whole plow is completed, parking is then allowed on the street after that. And here's just an overhead view of that location in Sioux Falls. This extends for probably about 8 blocks. This is in the area of Vera Hospital. So then finally, as requested, we did have SEH prepare a concept drawing showing the bump outs at all the intersection locations. I do want to note that 4th North Street is slightly an issue due to a driveway being kind of offset in the middle of that intersection. After reviewing that slightly, I guess it'd be my recommendation that we would not include 4th North if you elect to move forward with this layout option. While we could extend the bump outs on both sides of 2nd North and then also complete the bump outs on 3rd North Street as well. So that is the presentation I have for you today, and let council have your discussion.
Thank you.
I'll be right up front, okay? I mean, we're reconsidering it. Is council wishing to change, what option we want to go to. That's what I'm interested in hearing.
I guess I am. At this point, the amount of people that have reached out, the amount of people that have signed petitions, warranted the reconsideration. I would like to hear from the public here. I assume there's some people that are probably from the neighborhood or want something to say about this. It was one of those things that we've had open houses. This was open to the public to come to the meeting. We didn't get the feedback that we wanted to have. I mean, this was something, you see the pictures that were up there. It's something that was going to be grant-driven, not a taxable item, that it was something, let's make a positive change. That was all I was personally looking at, but I'm not too proud to say that if there's people that have alternative ideas, I definitely want to hear about it, and I definitely like seeing the bump outs on this one. That's my biggest concern with this, was keeping people safe getting across those streets. Having bump outs as an actual option is what I now favor seeing it, but I'd like to hear from people, if there are residents, if they'd be in favor of something like this too, being this is kind of the first it's been seen.
And if you can state your name and address for the record.
West Ludragon, 423 North Garden. Lived there for 20 years. Just a couple thoughts I have. I do like the bump out idea a lot better than the center median. There are 13 people that have driveways, and the center median will affect each and every one of us. There are 6 people that don't have access to the alley, so the only thing they have is their driveway. The parking with the snow, Garden Street's a wind after wind, so you're gonna have drifting. And in my opinion, the center median's just a snow blockage for the snow. And again, the Safety Commission recommended not putting it in, so I don't know. Let's see, what else do I got? You're already narrowing the street to 44 feet if you don't put them in, so I feel that it's effective not having the center median in because you're already narrowing it by 16 feet. And just that it's going to impact probably 18 of us that, directly, as far as using our driveways and access to our homes and safe parking or off-street parking. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Lori Ludwig, also at 423 North Garden. And I guess, first of all, I appreciate you reopening this. We had attended the open house, and I did email through the website, the project website, our preference of no center median. And so I kind of felt like some of that stuff wasn't even heard. So I appreciate you reopening this. And yeah, we did go through the neighborhood and kind of knocked door to door and got quite a few people that were also opposed to the center median as well. We invited some of those with us as well. So hopefully we appreciate you listening to us and our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Millibrand. I live at 311 North Garden. I have only been there for 2 years, but I have been a resident of New Ulm for 30 years. And I do think the median is not a great idea. The amount of traffic that I see on that road, I walk New Ulm every day. I go down to Center Street, I go up Center Street Hill, and I do see a majority of bicyclers utilizing Garden Street. So essentially, you are eliminating the bicycle route no matter what idea you go with, because you're shrinking our street down to 44 feet. And I'm already concerned about getting out of my door when I park on the street, and cars are flying by me. Most of them go at least 30, if not over 30. And so I feel like my safety is concerned. I do not have a driveway access on Garden Street, and so the only way to get up to my house through the alley is up a number of stairs. So I'm not opposed. I am opposed to the median. So that's all I have to say.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Would anyone else care to be heard? You know, it's a great thing to get civically involved, and I'm so happy that there's so many people here.
Joe Blickham, 411 North Garden. We've been there about 35 years, 37. Cindy's been there longer. Guess we were out of town when this whole thing went down, and guess we were understanding we'd have a little bit more time than this, but it happened pretty quickly. It would deeply affect our backing out of our driveway and that, and I guess we really don't want to see the median. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's a consensus amongst the people that live there that the median is not in favor. And council, you guys have any other opinions on like layout 3?
Well, yeah,
Or
you
layout
can
two?
come, yeah, come on up.
I'm Cindy Blickham, and I live at 411 North Garden, and I've been there for 39 years, and my grandma lived there since 1967. So I'm very familiar with the traffic on Garden Street, and I've always appreciated that that street was wider, like you said, for the bikes, and it's just been a privilege to have that street be wider. And I noticed that down the road, there are no crosswalks on the street. And that would help with people, being aware that you really should stop for the kids, because there are no, down on Fifth North, they're marked. Down, I looked the other day, and they're not marked. Also, parking is an issue, because if we have friends and gathering people, like the people across the street have no driveways, and you can't park in winter, where are they gonna park on Fifth North? You can't really park on our street, because, and our block is the 400 block and the 300. There is no side street between. It's all connected. And I'm not sure where you're talking about the bump out on 4th? Or not having it?
It's proposed in one of the layout options.
Okay. But anyway, that is some of my concerns, so thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'll say, as far as the layout for option 3, if there is some conflict with putting that bump out on 4th North, I would be okay. I mean, is the plan to put bump outs on like every single intersection? Because I know the majority of the crossing is done at 1st North and 5th North. And so if there are some conflicts with putting it at 4th North or even, 3rd North, I'm not sure how frequently that's crossed in consideration of the 5th and 1st. But I guess my question is the plan to eventually put bump outs at every intersection, I guess?
Madam President, City Councilors, so this would be, if bump outs are ordered in at 3rd and 4th, that would kind of go against our policy of putting them where they're needed.
Right.
Typically, we've done them adjacent to schools. Obviously, we've done them on 5th North, adjacent to the NUAX campus. We've done them on German Street, adjacent to Johnson & Johnson sporting complexes. I would say the short answer to your question is no. They do not belong at every intersection. We try to focus them where we have the higher pedestrian traffic, adjacent to parks and things of that nature. That's why, the recommendation to not include 4th, I guess I would stick with that recommendation and ultimately let the council make the decision if you wanted to see them at 3rd or both sides of 2nd. But I guess, my recommendation would try to keep them in those more heavily pedestrian traveled areas. And that's not to say if if we put them there, maybe that pedestrian traffic increases as well.
Right.
But it's the same as, signing and things of that nature. You don't want oversaturation because then they don't become important.
Right.
So I guess that's kind of my comments
All right,
to kind of dance around your question a little bit, but in short, no, they don't deserve to be at every intersection.
My question then, would it be possible to consider kind of layout option 3 with bump outs at 1st North? And then it looks like there'll be a roundabout at 5th North. Would that roundabout include a bump out as well? I'm just having trouble identifying that from the picture.
Madam President, no, there would not be a bump out in the roundabout as the roundabout footprint itself serves that same purpose with the medians that are included at the crossing locations.
Thank you. Counselors, Mayor, other comments?
My comment would be, first of all, to thank all of you residents that showed up here tonight and others that signed a petition. Those of you who went door to door. Our government is all about the people and participating and listening to you. I applaud the council for reopening this opportunity to revisit the different layouts for Garden Street and encourage us to consider and to listen to the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, President and councilors, and Engineer Stadheim. I see, that fourth north intersection is unique in the project in that it, fourth north terminus is there on Garden Street. It doesn't continue to the west, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so I certainly see why that intersection is just a three-way, and it's, a different intersection than the other ones in the project zone. So if we were to choose the bump out option number 3, I would support treating, the intersection at 4th North differently, and maybe not having bump outs there. That's one comment I have. Another comment, at our last meeting, we talked about possibly no parking in the winter time because of snow issues, but there may be also a possibility of allowing parking in the winter, but just temporarily during a snow emergency, so that cars would have to move if there's a snow emergency declared, just as we do downtown. So I wanted to mention that. And, this is a very busy thoroughfare. Is it a county state aid route?
Not county, it is a municipal state aid route.
Municipal state aid route. So it's not a slow, sleepy, quiet neighborhood street. It's a main thoroughfare. And I think it's important. I think we all realize that. So those are just a few comments I have. I also do appreciate hearing from the, the neighbors and residents. I echo what the mayor just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really appreciated actual just positive feedback. It was civil, normal. I mean, we didn't have to get violent or anything about this. It was actually really, really nice to actually get to visit with a lot of the people here. I too don't support seeing a need at 4th in any capacity, but I do still like seeing them at 3rd and 2nd first, just to help people slow down a little bit once they start getting to those parks. I mean, with the football practices that go on, a lot of kids walk down there. Soccer is going to be being used down there. The parks are going to be hopping in the summer, and I'd like to see people slowing down, and those bump outs do kind of dictate that. Also, with not having a median, the snow plowing isn't really a major issue at all anymore. The need to have it be a snow emergency route. So I guess there's a lot of good with option 3.
And I'm going to kind of tag along with Councilor Warmka. And a little history behind it, it's not the first time we've argued about medians in New Ulm. 98, there was an argument with Center Street. And I had pulled it out. I remember at that time Joel Albrecht was a counselor. And he made the statement about no street reconstructed benefits only the owners, said Councilor Joel Albrecht. We don't build streets for individuals. It's for the community at large. What I'm tagging on with Councilor Warmka is it's not just the general people in that area. West Side Park is heavily used by young kids crossing the street, dashing out from cars and whatnot. So it's not the first time we argued about medians.
Well, and I'd like to also add to that. I mean, some of the other locations in our community that do have medians, obviously Broadway, Center Street, North Highland, those areas are certainly, high traffic areas, and probably higher traffic areas than this section of Garden Street. I don't know if we have traffic counts.
Madam President, City Councilors, Rough traffic counts are around 4,000 vehicles per day, 4,100 maybe on Garden Street.
And how might that compare to Center Street or?
It's about half of Center Street, maybe 2/3, yeah.
Okay, but Center Street would have significantly more than that?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
I guess I'm going to just chime in a little bit. You know, from my last vote, aesthetically, and because, the information that we received and, we didn't have any other people in the audience, speaking on behalf of their neighborhood, I actually liked option 2, it looked very attractive. It met our comp plan needs, but this option 3, with the bump outs, and if we can satisfy some of that and get a compromise, I'm okay with that. So, I mean, it's change, we're forever changing, or we're trying to look at opportunities, from all sides.
It's a good opportunity to fix up a road that needs to be fixed, and good opportunity to make a change for positive. I guess anyone else want to share anything else? Otherwise I'll make a motion to direct staff to move forward with layout option number 3, minus bump outs at 4th North for the 2027 North Garden Street project for the area between 2nd North Street and 5th North Street.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
The only discussion I would like to add is I appreciate the work put into this additional option. I know we discussed it briefly at the last meeting, but to see it here in front of us and presented, I think it's still a very nice expansion of our boulevards and the greening of the area and the safety at our intersections. I greatly appreciate staff's work on this.
Thank you. My only other comment, perhaps it's a question, or can I get some head nods in one direction or another from the, yeah? Okay. All right.
I do have one other question for the engineer, maybe he knows it or not. With that option 3, the boulevards, how much do we gain?
Well, it would go back to the option 1 footprint, so we should, off the top of my head, I think those are 8-foot boulevards, 8 to 10 feet boulevards, 6-foot sidewalk.
Okay.
So obviously, the boulevards will be a little larger in the vicinity of the bump outs, so, but.
All right, thank you.
Maybe one more comment that goes back to our last meeting when President Betker was talking about maintenance. With this option 3 and the boulevards being a responsibility of maintenance of the neighboring landowner is an important aspect, I think, for the community, as opposed to the median maintenance would fall upon our city staff, is my understanding. So I think if the homeowners are willing to maintain a larger boulevard, I think this can fly.
Thank you. Only other question, how will this affect the bike lane? Because we are losing some, or the bike riding, I guess. that
Madam
we see.
President, City Councilors, it's still going to be on the bike route. There's not a designated lane. We don't have markings for a lane. There's sharrows and share the road signage. That will remain the same. That won't change. It's going to be very similar to what's north of 5th North in front of the clinic.
Thank you so much. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? We do have a motion and a second. Those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I hope you stick around for the rest of the meeting. You can see what else we get to do. Okay, moving on to item 4.3 is the 2025 Airport Apron Expansion, Taxi Lane Extension, and Airfield Pavement Maintenance Project. Mr. Steenheim.
Madam President, City Councilors, so bids were opened and received for this project, and a little bit of history. Well, we've gone through the history. It was kind of started the planning process for this back in 2023 with a task order executed by council. This bid package had the base bid plus a couple alternates, alternate 1 and 2. So we had 3 schedules on this project. Bids were opened back on Did I not put that in there? That was opened on March 5th. Sorry about that. We had 3 bidders on the project. So ultimately, instead of reading all the amounts and all the alternates, ultimately, the low bidder was MR Paving and Excavating, and this included all schedules at $1,293,772.26. However, the engineer's estimate for all schedules was about 1.1 million, so about $200,000 more than what was anticipated. As this project is 95% funded by the feds, 2.5% by the state, and 2.5% local, and with the amount of dedicated funding we had for this project, the bid amounts caused our local share to go up quite significantly because we were out of entitlement funds to fund the remaining portion of the project. So we are recommending that the base bid plus alternate number 2 be awarded. So that includes the expansion of the apron, which is needed for the fuel system, which would be the next item for consideration, along with the airfield pavement maintenance. So that includes crack filling and crack repairing on the primary runway and primary taxiway. So that total base bid plus the alternate number 2 is $996,340.97, and that is what we are recommending for the contract award to MR Paving and Excavating. That low bid is about 15% over the engineer's estimate, and the breakdown would be that 95, 2.5, and 2.5, and that would be 2 years' worth of consecutive federal grants. So we would fund this project up front and reimburse ourselves over the next 2 years through the federal, state grant process. So within the packet was the recommendation award letter from our consultant at Mead & Hunt, along with the bid results and tabulation. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
President and councilors, I fully support our airport and its operations and maintenance and improvements. It's also in Ward 3, so I'd like to make a motion to award the contract for the 2025 airport apron expansion and airfield pavement maintenance project, base bid and alternate bid number 2 to MR Paving and Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $996,340.97, contingent on the city receiving the companion federal and state grants to complete this work.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion does carry. Item 4.4 is the 2025 Airport Fuel System Replacement Project, which we've known has been coming.
Madam President, City Councilors, this one's a little bit more muddy compared to the last one. So the total low bid for this project was Minnesota Petroleum Services at $1,601,795.15. Engineer's estimate for the project, $1,413,415. So looking at the bid results for this, again, considerably over the engineer's estimate, and the way fuel systems are funded are a 70-30 split, 70% by the state, 30% by the city. However, the state only funds up to $1 million for a fuel system project. So that 70% would not cover, or the $1 million would not cover the full 70%, again, causing our local share to go up quite significantly. Anticipating this, our consultant engineer broke this project into 2 schedules, and that included Schedule 1, which is the civil site work, including the access road and all pavement associated with the construction of a fuel system. Schedule 2 is the actual fuel system itself. So when we break Schedule 1 out from Schedule 2, it turns out the low bid would be MR Paving and Excavating at $765,409.53. It is our recommendation that we go ahead and award Schedule 1 and Schedule 1 only, taking advantage of that 70-30 cost share with the state of Minnesota. There are rumblings within the state agency that there will be a second solicitation for fuel system only grants after the state fiscal year starts over July 1. At that time, we would reapply for a grant to fund the fuel system only portion of the project and go out for rebidding and develop a new bid proposal package for just the fuel system at that time. So again, our recommendation is to award Schedule 1 and Schedule 1 only to MR Paving based on the results in your bid, in your council action form.
Thank you.
President and councilors, I will also offer to make a motion to award the contract for the 2025 Airport Fuel System Replacement Project Schedule 1 to MR Paving and Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $765,409.53, contingent on the city receiving the companion state grant to complete this work.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
One question, maybe the finance director can or cannot. I noticed we added that, we're gonna cover that overrun, but we're well within our guideline, right, with the bond issue?
Yes, we,
Okay.
yeah, we,
All right, that's all I wanted to know.
Excellent. Thank you. Any further discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Item 4.5, Comprehensive Safety Action Plan for Professional Services Contract.
Right, Madam President, City Councilors. So, as previously authorized, we prepared and solicited proposals from consulting engineers for the development of a City of New Ulm Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. The proposed action plan will help identify roadway improvements to our roadway network with the goal of increasing safety and eliminating serious injury and fatal accidents within the city. So, as authorized, we received those proposals and reviewed them. We received 5 very well-done proposals. That final ranking is included within your agenda packet. And ultimately, staff is recommending that we award the contract to SRF Consulting Group. Their average score out of 100 was 92.33. And the range was that score to 86.67. So very tight scoring, very good proposals. It took the review committee a couple meetings to come to an agreement on the decision. Just a reminder, this project is fully funded by the federal government and the state of Minnesota with the matching IIJA funds. The federal grant is in hand, so that has been executed. And then we will develop a force account with MnDOT for the remaining portion of the project. So as you can see, the fee amount is right at that $250,000, and that amount equates to our award amount, combining the 2 grants. So we are, again, recommending SRF perform this work for us. And one item of note, they actually have an accelerated schedule within their proposal to complete this about 4 to 5 months in advance of what we specified within the proposal document, or request for proposal.
Well, with the information given, I'll gladly award the contract to SRF Consulting Group Incorporated to provide professional services to deliver a City of New Ulm Comprehensive Safety Action Plan in the amount of $249,998.50.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Item 4.6 is a purchase agreement with Landhaven Development LLC. Thank you, Mr. Nicely.
Good evening, Council President, councilors. If it's okay with the council, we would like to pull this agenda item for tonight and review it at the next council meeting. This is per the request of the actual name in the purchase agreement, Landhaven Development LLC.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Can I get a motion to pull the item?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Item is pulled. Thank you so much. Item 4.7, second consideration of ordinance number 2025-099, Chapter 4, Cannabis and Hemp Retail Businesses and Temporary Cannabis Events.
Council President, councilors, we went through and went the 5 items that we talked about last time. I'll just kind of summarize for you. So again, we are limiting it to 2 licenses per council's direction. Registration fee will be $350, and then a renewal would be $700. But there are a couple more licenses that you'll be approving on the schedule that'll be detailed out. Hours of operation, Monday through Saturday will be 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., and then Sunday will be 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Operating hours for temporary cannabis events will be 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and then on-site consumption, the consensus was to allow on-site consumption while in commercial grade fencing.
Sounds fun.
I can redefine commercial grade fencing. Okay, thank you so much.
No, this is another one. I have not heard any negative feedback from people. I mean, obviously we know it's coming. You guys have done your work, and I think I am very in favor of the 2 license limit in our town. So I'll make a motion to conduct the second consideration and adopt ordinance number 2025-099, amending Chapter 4, adding a new Section 4.68 of the City Code of the City of New Ulm relative to cannabis and hemp retail businesses and temporary cannabis events, regulating the sale of cannabis and hemp products in the City of New Ulm.
Second.
And approve the summary publication, please.
And approve the summary of publication.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Under new business, item 5.1 is setting fees related to cannabis businesses.
Council President, councilors, again, we're looking at the retail business license, low potency hemp retail license, and cannabis events. Again, the retail business license, the initial registration fee will be set at $350. The retail business license renewal, not annual fee, it'll be a renewal fee, is $700. The low potency hemp retailer license will be set at $50. There isn't a fee for that. That is a new fee. And then cannabis events will be at $100 per day.
President and councilors, I would like to offer the resolution adopting the addition of the following cannabis and hemp retail business license fees effective May 15, 2025. The retail business license of $350 initial registration fee, the retail business license of $700 for the annual fee.
Renewal fee.
Fee of $700. Thank you. And the low potency hemp retailer license of $50 for an annual fee, and the cannabis event $100 for a daily fee.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
Counselor Schmitz?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, motion carries. Item 5.2, establish Fund 254, Local Affordable Housing Aid and Transfer Funds.
Counselors, this is more of a housekeeping item that I discovered when I was getting ready for this year's audit, or for 2024's audit. These are funds we started receiving in 2023. It was just brought to my attention in reading some of the new guidance that was released last year that it needs to be kept in a separate fund. So I just need a motion to establish that fund and then move those remaining funds into that new fund.
President and councilors, I would like to offer the resolution to establish Fund 254, Local Affordable Housing Aid and Transfer $65,386.45, balance of funds received in 2023 and 2024 from Fund 101 General Fund to Fund 254.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
Counselor Schmitz?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, motion carries. Item 5.3 is a joint powers agreement between the Port Authority of St. Paul and the City of New Ulm.
Council President, councilors, this is a simple joint powers agreement that would allow us to take part in the Minnesota Property Assess Clean Energy Program, it would be Minnesota PACE. River Haven, which is the project up by the airport, would like to do a PACE loan. And what the PACE loan does is they can take out the loan for a clean energy construction, and then that loan would be assessed to their property, and they'd be paying it back through their property tax. So what we as a city would have to do, kind of the only responsibility we'd have is to place that assessment on that property and then remit payment to the Port Authority when they make their property tax payment.
President and councilors, I support this project in Ward 3, and I would like to offer the resolution approving the joint powers agreement between the Port Authority of the City of St. Paul and the City of New Ulm to implement the Minnesota Property Assessed Clean Energy Program, Minnesota PACE, in New Ulm.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Ask, have we done this in the past ever? Is this new to us?
This would be new to us. So I know the county does have a joint powers agreement, but looking into that, theirs is for a much smaller portion. I think they can do up to potentially 250,000. I think the River Haven is looking for a much larger loan.
Okay. How do they calculate? Do they calculate like a simple interest or something, or?
Yeah, so the Port Authority, when they get the application, they'll go through, they have to do, River Haven would have to do an energy audit, so they do a lot of calculations. So by us doing the joint power agreement is just a step. The Port Authority still has to approve the loan, make sure they qualify and do all of that stuff before anything can happen, but they technically can't even apply until we have this in place.
This is just all the preliminary then,
Yep.
basically. Okay.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
Counselor Schmitz?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, motion carries. Item 5.4 is Police Department donations. Chief.
Madam President, members of the council, Dave Walker, Chief of Police for the City of New Ulm. In front of you is a request to accept a monetary donation of $2,000 from Herb Knutson and $200 from the New Ulm Dental Clinic. Both very generous donations requested to support the K-9 program.
Thank you so much.
It's an absolutely amazing thing that Herb does for the town with that polar plunge, and what he gets and gives back from that is unreal and so kind. So I'll gladly offer the resolution to accept the monetary donation in the amount of $2,000 from Herb Knutson and $200 from New Ulm Dental Clinic to support the New Ulm Police Department K-9 program.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
Counselor Schmitz?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you very much. Last item is claims and estimates, reported claims paid.
I'll make a motion to accept the list of claims paid in the amount of $1,908,708.92.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion does carry. At this time, we do have an agenda item that needs approval, and this would be a closed session. So at this time, I'll ask approval of agenda. A motion to suspend the rules to accept the closed session. And then I'll read some information into the record.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion does carry. At this time, the city council will move into a closed session prior to adjournment. I need to read this now, right? Yep. So the agenda item is for consideration of offers or counter offers for the city's purchase of portions of the following parcels of real property identified by the following parcel numbers: 1900240010820, parcel 1900240041060, parcel 190023001022010, parcel 190024002054040, parcel ID 1900230040960, and parcel 1900240031160. For this agenda item, this meeting will be closed to the public pursuant to Minnesota statutes, sections 13D.05, subdivision 3C. The property to be discussed in closed session is real property located west and east of the city's airport, consisting of portions of the tax parcels identified in the above addendum to the city council for today's meeting. I am looking for a motion to close the meeting and move into a closed session.
So
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion does carry. We are now moving into closed session. In the booth, please let us know when you are ready. Thank you.